Blog Talk Radio.
Lemonade on a summer day, what you say? Is it awesome, right? Is it awesome, right? Tattooed arms, flip the radio, here we go. Is it awesome, right? Is it awesome, right? Drop down, roof 5, singing Golden on my mind,
and you are listening live to On The Move Unscripted, On Purpose, the ladies' round table discussion, where we talk about everything. Make sure you tune in every Thursday night at 8 o'clock from 8 to 10, so we talk about whatever you want to talk about. So make sure you tune in 8 o'clock every Thursday, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. with your girls live on the move, unscripted, on purpose. And remember, whatever you do it on purpose, with purpose.
Frank Miller on the motherfucking beat.
Boy, make it make sense, make it make sense. Make it make sense, make it make sense. Look at you, look at me, look at you, look at me. Make it make sense, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Be we finna see. Driving through the city, some foreign top drop. When you see me, look at me, looking rich, looking cute, refurbished, hair blowing in the wind, looking like $1 trillion cents, a couple zeros in the bank. Rats on rats in different states. Yes, I get whatever I want. No, I do not hesitate. All that smiling in my face, cut it short and compensate. I'm picture perfect, Mona Lisa, bitch. Made of different harmonies. I'm black, white, and Indian. I'm delicious. I'm chocolate. You on Tunchi. I'm just trying to find my tune. Be the illest in this music shit. Greater coming soon. You want a chain, bitch? I want a ring. I'm married to this shit, but better off for worse. I always be a blessing and a curse. Make it make sense, make it make sense. Ay, make it make sense, make it make sense. Ay, look at you, look at me, look at you, look at okay. Make it make sense, make it make sense. Okay, make it make sense, make it make sense. Ay, look at you, look at me, look at you, look at make it make sense. Better make dollars, better come with different episodes. Fly me out the country, Bitcoin, I'm talking euros. Maybe an island, let me rock the boat like my idol. Be my peace, breathe me life, make every moment worthwhile. Ain't no half stepping, no nigga, you can't sell me a dream. Couldn't see me wide awake, you think it's better when you sleep? Yes, I'm a handful, and I'm heavy on the confidence. So if you step into me, them dollars better make sense. Ay, look at you, look at me, look at you, look at me. Make it make sense, make it make sense, make it make sense, maybe we finna see, make it make
What's going on? You have tuned in to another episode of On The Move Unscripted Ladies Roundtable Discussion. And you already know that I got my girls on the line. What's up, ladies?
Yes, ma'am. What's up?
Hey.
That drop was dope.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You know,
make it make sense.
Right. That artist, her name was Illusion, and she was one of the contestants that was in that Zoom contest that we did. So she got a nice hot track out too. We're gonna be working with her and stuff. So yeah, that is the bomb. Make it make sense. Like if you it make it make sense. That's all we're saying.
Right. Indeed.
So, and thank you very much for that drop, Kim. I love that. That was the bomb.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we got it out the way finally.
Yeah, I got to get the other ladies. You know what I'm saying? We got to get the other ladies. So let's go ahead and start how I always like to start. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Kim. How was your week?
Man, you know what? It's like every day I'm going through some type of transformation. But what was dope yesterday, let me tell you this. You know, Monday night I did my show on healing with men needing to be healed, how to go about doing that. And yesterday,
that was the bomb.
Early yesterday,
I saw
Thank
that.
you very much. Thank you very much. Yesterday, I had a revelation about my own healing. Like, I've never claimed to be perfect. I never claimed that I'm over everything because I'm not. I acknowledge what I'm not. But I had a revelation yesterday as far as, like, past relationships and all that kind of stuff was concerned, and it just sparked something in me, like, so quick. And it was like, okay, well, I know what to do to heal. I know what I've been telling other people to do, so let me do it. It's a decision. Let me make the decision to heal because I've acknowledged it out loud. Like, I've spoken out loud. I was venting to one of my friends. And while I was venting, I'm hearing myself, right? So while I'm hearing myself, I'm processing all the information that I'm giving me out loud. So in doing that, I released some things, and that allowed me to get to the point where I say, okay, now I got all the info. Let me make a decision on what I'm going to do with this information. When I tell you my new healing process began immediately, I mean immediately. So it's about to be a brand new me again. And I'm looking forward to meeting her, so she's going to be super dope. Yes, ma'am.
Amen. I know that's right.
Hey. Like Missy saying, hey.
Hey, you know. Indeed. So it's all good.
Well, I'm glad you had a good week, and that you've come to a happy revelation in your life and all that kind of jazz. That's what's up. All right, so how about you, Missy? How was your week?
My week is going great. Besides all the ups and downs, I'm just glad that the Lord is taking me through them, and showing me it's not what you go through, it's how you go through them and how you come out more victorious than what you went in. So God is good. I am blessed, whether I'm going through it or not.
But you're
He's
going
made a way,
through
and
it.
will
You're not getting
continue.
stuck in it.
Right. I know that's right. I'm going through the fire.
That's
Ain't going to come out smell like no smoke or burnt, baby.
Right.
God is good. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right, then. That's what's up. So how about you, Marie? How was your week?
Hey, I'm Marie going to
Hey.
My week has been good. Since I don't have to work weekends anymore, it's been very great. Now I can really concentrate on trying to find me some place to live.
Okay.
You know.
They got a lot of nice
Have you
places
picked out a place?
north. I don't know if you want to move that way far away from your family. They got a lot of nice places out north. You hear me? Hello?
I'm not going north. Can you hear me?
I see, like I know north. Was that a hell no? Was that a hell
I'm not. You know what? I'm not going north. I don't particularly care for the north side, so I won't be going north.
That's crazy because we from here and we don't do the north side, baby.
I like north. North was cool. I used to have the bomb apartment out
for
north.
one, my grandson is a junior, so if he was to up and switch schools, he would have to sit out a year, and they've already lost a year of sports, so he would not be able to play his senior year. And that's something I just would not do to him. That would, to me, would be selfish. And I'm not willing to be selfish when he's been there since it's 7th through 12th grade, and he's got a lot of programs and different things that he's in. So to just pull him and put him into a school up north, or they could still do the open enrollment stage where he's at, but he would definitely have to sit out a year for sports. So wherever I move, it'll still be in this area or closer to his school until after he graduates.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what's up. Well, I had a great week, too. My week was cool, calm, collected. I think I'm just ready for this energy to kind of pass over this cloud in our country. I could see, the clouds shifting, but it's still kind of there, so I think I've been feeling. I just had a great week. Like yesterday, I had the bomb interview with Bad Boy Billy Sly and Shardae, an author of a book called Chances. So I had a really good interview. But I think overall, I've been so absorbed with this whole political, government, all that kind of stuff that now I'm just like, okay, I can exhale. I don't even want to read no more reports. Like I just know to stay away from the Capitol. So
right.
And that's in any city. You know what I'm saying? No city, no business to the Capitol next Wednesday from anywhere. Like, let them go ahead and do what they got to do, and whatever. So that's kind of like the mode I've been in. But we had a really good interview yesterday, and the young lady, the author, Shardae, who wrote the book called Chances, she opened up such a great discussion that I wanted to carry it over to the round table and talk with y'all about it. Awesome book. Basically, the book is about a young lady who she finally finds her father, but the trials and tribulations she goes with trying to build a relationship with him, and so that led us into a lot of different topics because there in the 90s, I want to say definitely 90s, maybe 80s, but definitely 90s, 2000s and on, we've had so many children who have grown up in single-parent homes. And I'm talking specifically to the men now. Whenever you talk to a man and he messes up or he does something he ain't supposed to do, whatever, they all say the same thing. Well, I ain't had nobody teach me. Well, I ain't have a father figure for the ones who didn't, It seems like that's something you hear all the time. And so I just thought that it would be a good discussion to talk with you ladies about. What y'all think?
That's what's up. Yep.
That's far.
Because that actually ties into what I was talking about Monday, about the healing. So, absolutely.
Yeah, reiterate
I got to
what
watch
you were talking about. reiterate what you was talking about on Monday. On Monday, because that was a really, really good video you did. But for those who may not have seen it or whatever, definitely give them kind of like a little background on what you was talking about.
So the topic was men, it's time to heal. And the overall was how men really don't make a decision to heal. They're taught to deal with things. So no matter what all is going on in their head, and usually it's a lot, they battle with their thoughts, they battle with their emotions, but they don't make decisions to heal because society, one, doesn't accept that. Healing for a man or for anybody means that he's got to cry or he's got to speak out what's going on with him. He's got to be vulnerable. And again, society doesn't accept that. So he doesn't learn or allow himself to heal from the things that have traumatized him. And he'll carry on the trauma from his first relationship with a woman, his mother. He'll carry on that trauma into every other relationship. So it's like the first trauma that he ever had with a woman, every woman thereafter is going to pay for it because he keeps everything in his head. He stores everything instead of releasing it because he's not taught to do it. It's frowned upon if he releases it, if he talks about it, if he, cries or, whatever. But in order for men in particular to heal, they have to acknowledge what hurt them in the first place, and they have to speak it out loud. Once you have spoken what's going on in your head, you have unblocked your throat chakra. Once you have done that, you gain control over what's going on in your head because now it's released. Now you can hear it. Now that energy of release has been released. That's the first step, is acknowledging out loud what caused the pain. But if they don't do that, everything stays in their head. It's like it'll just build up. It's like if you think about it as a gumball machine. I thought about this yesterday. If you think about it as a gumball machine, all those gumballs are thoughts, they're emotions. And if you picture it, they're crowded. There's no space in there. They're on top of each other. One of them is trying to get out. So consider one of those gumballs being a thought, being an emotion. One of them got to get out, even to make room for another, to make some space. So something has to go in the little slot in order for it to be released out of the hole, right? Once it's released, it's out. It can't go back in there, no matter what you do. It cannot go back in there. It's the same way with the emotional traumas, with the thoughts. Once you let it go, it's gone. And then you have to make a decision not to invite it back. If you keep going backwards, you keep looking for the trauma, you keep digging in the garbage for it, you'll find it, but you'll never heal. You know what I'm saying? You'll continue to go backwards. You continue to stay stuck in something that won't allow you to move forward in the first place. So you have to make a decision to heal.
So for men who have grown up, like let's say they grew up only raised by their mother, and maybe they've seen a lot of craziness going on between the mother and the father or the mother and the boyfriend. You know how that goes. And probably they take a lot of that into adulthood and never truly address it because, like you said, they're supposed to be strong. That's what they, been told, suck it up. And, when they cry, what you crying for? Huh? And all that kind of stuff. When they probably got a lot of tears that they need to release.
Absolutely.
So when we were talking about the book yesterday, and she was just talking about those fathers that are in and out, like, the ones that you see only on the holidays. They send their money now. The money comes,
right.
Child support comes like it's supposed to, but they don't do that quality time. So they in and out, only stop and by on holidays and Christmas. You think that don't affect the kids? That affects the kids. Or you say, I'm going to come pick you up, and you don't never come. You got the kids sitting there waiting on you and stuff. So that's craziness, And I think for women, for girls too, because imagine for her situation, it was the daughter that was going through that. You always hear stuff, daddy's little girl, girls cling to their fathers, whatever. But when you got a father that's in and out, not really consistent, I think that affects the relationships as adults. And they end up choosing men with those same kind of characteristics. What you think, Misty?
Oh, yes, that's definitely true. I think it's more dangerous, dangerous for women, because it leads us to fall for whatever. We believe in all the lies, hearing them as we growing up. Oh, we'll be back. I'm going to the store. I'll be right back, type stuff. And it leads us to believe anything that we're being told, But it's definitely really hard. I ain't going to say it's harder for women. Well, we bear a lot. So, I'm going to speak for myself. That was hard for me and has been, before now, because my eyes are opening up a whole bunch from going through a lot of different stuff with different guys. But it really played a big part in my life, falling for the okie doke, basically, and trusting and believing in people and learning the hard way,
Right.
And it really messes me up now because today it's like you tell me something, I'm looking at you like, Negro, please. I'm like, yeah, whatever,
Right.
I really, like, seriously, because I have trust issues, like, for real, It really, it really messes with me a lot. I don't believe nothing nobody got to say, so you might as well not even say it to me. Actions speak louder than words. You already done proved me right one time, So I ain't trying to hear that a second time. And normally I'm a third striker, but it's like you get to that second one, your second one is your third one with me, bruh. That's how I am. We ain't gonna give you another chance,
Right.
What about you, Armory? What are your thoughts?
Well, I believe, because with me, it's kind of deeper. It's my belief that, when you grow up, like, without that leading man in the house. Now, I was still kind of lucky because my parents divorced when I was young. I was still in elementary school. But my father still came and got us on the weekends, So he was a little bit looser than what he was when he was in the marriage. But I just truly believe that, and plus back in the day, a lot of men were raised to believe that men, you have to be tough. If you cry, you're a punk, you're a sissy. Suck it up, deal with it. But what they did was taught, as these boys was growing up trying to be, rough and tough and this is what a man does, they were never introduced to another side, because you have to have kind of a sensitive side to deal with women, because most women are emotionally based. But when you don't have that, because I have noticed for the majority of the females that are raised up in the home without their father in their life, and say their mom has several different boyfriends, she's just doing her, then a lot of times that kind of they're misled, because your father should be the first man that introduced you. It should be the first male that you fall in love with, because how your father treats you is what you come to expect. There's a lot of people that think, oh, she comes from a wild family, or she might be hot, and then they realize, like, oh yeah, well, maybe her brothers and sisters, but she's not like that, because I'm not. And because I understand my worth, I know my worth, and I've been taught my worth. And it wasn't just my father, because back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, I was raised around, it was a village. It was my father, and it was also my grandmother had a prominent hold in my life. So my grandfather was there. And so I watched how he went out and took care of the bills, and my grandmother kind of did whatever she wanted to.
and she was a great wife in my eyes. Now, as that lady, as one of our callers, Robin, had pointed out, like, you don't know what went on because everybody's going to go through hardship at some point. And so she was correct about that. I didn't know. But I do believe that when fathers do not, when sons are growing up with the absence of their fathers, they have to kind of teach themselves. And if there's no one in their family that's a male, positive male role figure, a lot of the guys that I know kind of learn what they learned just along the way or in the street, you know. I mean, because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, the streets are horrible. And the streets are horrible, but they do have street love where they, you know, hey, man, you know, I ain't your daddy. I'm just showing you how to survive. And that's what they're doing. You know, I have a gentleman friend. His father lived in the same city, and he took care of one family, but he had a lot of kids. But his father was also raised that, you know, boys grow up on their own. They're not supposed to have that type of help and, you know, to make them independent and strong, and which he is. But, you know, there's still a lot of resentment that he has because his father, he saw in hindsight what he was doing for his sisters, but wouldn't do the same thing for himself or his brother. And I've also saw females that grew up without their dad, and they don't really understand what true love is and how to be treated like a princess. So when they get with a guy, they're searching for that love and they're not familiar with it. I believe that's why some women are used to getting beat because they're like, well, at least, you know, he beat me, but he'll do this, he'll do that. I'm like, but that's a twisted, toxic type of love. But that's my belief.
So I know that we have Dr. R. Marie on the line. What's going on, Dr. R. Marie?
Hey, Marie.
I'm the A. Marie.
Up all the time. Hey, Dr. A. Marie.
I mean, A. Marie. I'm sorry.
Dr. A. Marie. She called me Dr. R. Marie. I'm like, well, Dr. R. Marie left the line. Well, hey, Marie. I was like, eventually.
I'm good. I'm listening in. I'm a little bit late, but I'm here. Decided to tap in and say hey to everybody.
So
sounds like an interesting discussion.
Well, let's, you know, we don't mind if you come late. A lot of people come late. I'm late all the time. How was your week?
My week has been busy. It's just really, really been busy. A lot of people are feeling helpless right now. A lot of people are feeling hopeless. A lot of people are deciding that they just don't want to live on this planet anymore, threatening all kinds of stuff. So just a lot of things. I got an artist who's rolling out a mixtape that we've been producing for the last 5-6 months, so that's coming close, planning for that. My private investigation business is picking up, so I got that. I'm just grateful for a lot of things and a lot of people.
You have to bring,
so my week has been busy but good.
You have to bring your artists through on Wednesdays when me and Mr. Stout introduce different artists and stuff once he drops it out. Get with Mr. Stout and bring him on the show.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And then just picked up a newer, younger rap artist and going to be putting some stuff out about him soon. So, and I just happen to be helping somebody else out on they needed some folks for a video. And I was just there as support for the video and then wound up kind of on his team. So it's exciting, you know. And then I got my cute little grandbaby. I'm enjoying her. Just love her to pieces. She's still boring, but she's so cute.
Congratulations. You didn't miss that much of the discussion. Right now, we're talking about something I know you probably deal with, maybe indirectly, but I'm sure with your clients and stuff. So yesterday, I was telling them we had an interview with a young lady who wrote a book called Chances. Her name was Shardae, and it dealt with the family dynamic and the effect of growing up in a single parent home, especially when you have one of the parents. And in the case of the book, it was the father, but I know it also happens for the mother, you know, where the parent is absent. Like, I know you deal with a lot of young girls whose mothers is it mothers or fathers are in jail? It's one of them two.
Fathers
and so I know. So I know you deal with that. Give us a little insight on how you deal with those individuals and some of the similar signs you see in all of them that's kind of like the same.
I mean, I've dealt with this personally and professionally, throughout my life. My parents were divorced, and so I dealt with the dynamic that, one parent wanted to overrule the other, and as a kid, I was able to manipulate that system and do a lot of the things that I wanted to do because, I would be mad at my mom and decide to go to my dad's house, and he would let me do whatever I wanted to do, and then I go back home and I had to deal with the consequences of having done what I wanted to do at my dad's house. So dealing with that whole dynamic. Absent doesn't. Well, I won't even get into that whole discussion about what absent means because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And then having had my own children and being divorced, being a single mom at one point in my life and having my son act out because his dad, he looked just like his dad, and having my son decide that at one point, he was just a little boy. He was like 7 years old, and he looked up at me one night and said, I don't want to live. And, a 7-year-old just tears your heart apart, right? And what he was doing was he had trouble verbalizing what he was actually feeling. So he gravitated towards what he thought in his head, his 7-year-old head, would be the thing to do, right? It's not really what he wanted. It's not really what he meant, but it tore every heartstring that I had away, and that was because his dad would call and say, I'm on my way. He doesn't show up. He would call and say, I'll get you on Saturday. He doesn't show up, so I had to put a stop to that. I had to say, this is enough, and if you're not going to be consistent, then you don't get the benefits of seeing them. So he made a choice. He didn't want to be consistent, so he stepped away. It was a choice that he made. I had to pick up all the pieces and do what I had to do. I had to remind myself not to parent out of guilt and still set down, rules and consequences for behavior that wasn't good behavior. I had to set consequences and keep it pushing. In my professional life, I've done a lot with girls. My whole dissertation for my PhD was girls who have incarcerated fathers and their personality traits associated with that. It's a whole culture of when it comes to these girls. They go through so much as teenagers, and they have to deal with the stigma, and they have to deal with the questions, and they have to deal with, what they see their peers doing, and other fathers out here, and they have to deal with stepfathers, and they have to deal with mothers who are bitter and angry, and because let's face it, they still love their fathers no matter what happened. Even if the crime that put their father in jail was against that child still loves their father. And they have a lot of confusion and things going on, and it's not helpful for the mother to then, do what she does, say negative things, et cetera, et cetera. So on a lot of different levels, I deal with fathers, parents, people who are in prison who don't have their children. So there's a whole other dynamic to that. We're talking absent parent, right? And an absent parent, let's just be clear, an absent parent can be in the home. I don't know if you guys discussed that already.
Right.
But that person can be absent emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and still be present in the home.
Mm-hmm. Right. Let's bring this caller in. We got a caller that wants to join this discussion. Caller, your number has 678 in it.
Oh, great vibrations.
Great vibrations, DJ Live.
Oh, that's big for you to call in on. You know what? Everybody gives MBJ Live a big hug because we know I want you to call in because we know that's big of you. I appreciate you. Definitely, I know that you have a lot to offer this discussion from a man's point of view because, you know, I've known you, MBJ Live, for all any listeners who don't know. He and I had a show in Atlanta, On The Move Unscripted, because On The Move Unscripted actually started in Atlanta. He and I did it on 1100 a.m., the real 1100 a.m., and we were partners for, 3-4 years. So I've heard your stories. I've listened to you. So I'm really glad that you called in to discuss, you know, what you feel about, you know, how growing up in a single-parent home affected you as a boy.
Oh, well, it definitely, I had some emotions going on when I was younger, you know, crying for my dad, you know, it's just that little boy in me that was longing for that male companionship. And I believe that a lot of young men, a lot of boys experience that. They want that male figure. And so I used to cry at night, you know, I want my daddy, you know, and I knew he existed. You know, I may have seen him maybe once or twice at that point, but he wasn't active. I could count, you know, man, I'm almost 50, and I've probably seen him maybe 7 times in my life, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 8. But, you know,
wow.
My mom, she wouldn't allow me to go, you know, really go stay with him, and she wouldn't even respond. She wouldn't fuss at me. She wouldn't do none of that stuff. You know, my mom wouldn't even talk about him. She wouldn't, you know, downgrade him. I don't know why you don't want, he did an eminent thing for you. And my mom wasn't that type of woman. You know, she had enough wisdom to know, you know what, he gonna find out for himself when he get older.
Right.
And so, and as I got older, and I'm looking at this dude like, this Negro cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying? So his mama did a number on him. And so now I had an understanding. I see why my mom didn't let me go stay with him, because I would have turned out probably like him or worse. You know, and I valued and respected my mom for that. And still to this day, I don't disrespect him at all. You know, I call him up, we'll talk, you know, he'll get some counsel from me. And, so it's a beautiful thing because of my mom being a single mother, raising, and I'm the oldest, a male child, you know, and it's possible. And so she taught me, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, principles. And that a lot of times that a lot of parents today, they forget, you know, those old school principles. No, you're going to wash them dishes. And if they not washed the first time, you're going to wash them all over again. You know, you're going to cook, you're going to clean, you're going to fold clothes. Before you watch cartoons on Saturday, you're going to wash the baseboard. You know, remember the little crock countryside butter dishes, you know, put a little water, soap and water, a little bleach in there, washing the baseboards. You know, those things as a single mom, that helped me shape and mold me to become the man I am today. Now, on the other hand, now my stepdad, you know, my siblings' dad, you know, I heard a lot of domestic violence in the home, the screams and the glass breaking and stuff is just, it was just chaotic, you know, and I'm scared and that affected me too. And so I found myself, you know, choosing controlling women. And, and so it affected me. So I'm glad I've never became the abuser of a woman, you know, definitely physically too, you know, so, but my mom, she didn't show me love like that. You know, her love language was things. And so because she didn't get it. She didn't get I love you, and hugs and embraces from her mother. And her mother didn't get it from her mother. So it was a generational thing. And so, and my mom, she got me all kind of stuff, toys and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I had my cousins was jealous of me. But, you know, I wanted affection. I wanted attention. I wanted my mom to sit me on her lap and tell me she loved me, and no, she never did that until I, became an adult. And I said, hey, I need to talk to you, And I told her, I said, yeah, you never told me you love me, and that's what I needed. And she said, son, I'm so sorry. And she said, I did the best I knew how to do. And instantly, that day, I was healed. Because if she didn't have $5 to give me, she couldn't give it to me. So my mother didn't have that to give, so she couldn't give it, and I understood that. And so, and from that day forward, every day we talk, she's like, hey, I love you, son, and I love you too, and it's coming from a genuine place. But yeah.
So, I got a question for you, MBJ. So, can I ask a question? So the question is, I heard you say that you never became the abusive man, but did you attract abusive women?
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah. I heard you say controlling, but were they physically abusive?
No, they was verbally abusive.
Okay.
It wasn't physical. Abuse is abuse. You know what I'm saying? And hell, this is worse. And I found myself, in my first marriage, I'm ex-gangster from the streets. I'm shooting folk, knocking folk out, and beating folk down, and I'm scared at home.
Right.
Yeah. So it affected me, and I didn't realize that till later on. I was like, oh, okay, I see.
I'm curious. Did you ever have any counseling? Did you ever, as an adult? I mean, I know you said that you're over it. You were relieved once your mother said, "I'm sorry and I love you," whatever. But the truth of the matter is, even though she said she gave you what you needed at 30 or 40 or whenever you approached her, did you ever get any counseling for the little boy inside who still mourns that? Because this. Like, for example, prime example. I just want a prime example. You told me in Atlanta, I'll never forget that conversation. You asked me, you said, Patricia, are you really healed from the things that happened to this child? And I told you yes, because in my heart and in my spirit, I am. I have forgiven everyone. But you saw something on me, and maybe something about my behavior that I did not see myself, that you felt like maybe there's a piece of me that still wasn't healed. So I'm flipping that question back on you because I've been around you a long time. And so my question is, have you ever gotten any counseling to deal with the little boy? The grown man feels good, but what about the little boy that's still on the inside?
It was all inclusive that day. When we had that conversation, it was like it hit me all in one, because I have matured to a certain degree and had a better understanding of certain things. And so when she said that, it clicked. Oh, and it was like instantly. I saw it differently. I didn't feel that pain no more. I didn't feel that abandonment anymore, because I'm like, I felt sorry for her. It's like, man, my mom, she was molested, she was abused, she was neglected. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, oh my God, I felt sorry for her. It's like, man, okay, all right. Yeah, so, yeah, and then from that day forward, of course, once you get that initial, and then that healing started, it's like you get cut in that wound, that scab, it started to heal and it started to get stronger. You started to build tissue and all that type of stuff. And so over the years, the I love yous, it just kept on solidifying, the deal. It's like, I love you too, I love you too. We hug, embrace, we talk, have grown-up conversations. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about like stuff that brothers and sisters would talk about. Me and my mom have those conversations. So it turned into a friendship. Not just a mother-son relationship, but an actual friendship that we could talk about relationships. And we could talk about other things. So now it became open. Now it wasn't like, be seen and not heard.
Right.
Wow.
That's how we do that.
You got one up on me, Marvin, because at least you went and you had that conversation with your mother. I'm going to admit that I never had that conversation with my father. I have never sat down and just really asked him why. And I think maybe it's because he's sick now and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I don't harbor any hatred. And that's nothing like I love my father. But I've never had that conversation, that why conversation, that how come conversation. I have not yet had that. And I'm just curious, is there anybody else on the line who you never confronted the parent, that you never talked to the parent about how you felt as an adult? Like, you never went back to them and said, listen, you know, what you did when I was 10 or 11 or 12, that really damaged me, or the things that happened that really hurt me, and I just want to understand why. You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering if there's anyone else. Kim, have you ever had that experience?
I've had a really major traumatic experience in my growing up, and I'm not going to go into all of the detail, but it's affected me even until yesterday, okay? But part of it, I did acknowledge him about it. You know, I asked him questions. You know, I didn't get like a whole lot of answers, but when he broke out in tears, I already knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, I witnessed some things go on when I was 6. Nobody should witness. Like, it was just too close, okay? And then there was never a conversation about it. I'm like, well, this just happened. Did nobody say nothing? And for y'all not going to talk about this, like, at all, ever? Nobody going to bring this up, huh? So I carried that probably for 25 years after the incident, and then I confronted him. I confronted him, and it was like I didn't do so much of a accusing or a trying to belittle or make him feel bad. I just needed him to know that at least because we never talked about it, that caused great damage to me, because nobody explained what the hell I just witnessed at 6 years old. What is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot had gone on. When I did confront him, I at that time just said, I want you to know that I forgive you. I don't even need to know all of the details. The fact that you're sitting here crying tells me that you're sorry for what went down. That's one. You know what I'm saying? And that you're allowing us to have this conversation, period. Because you knew, it was like he knew one day it was gonna come up. He knew one day we were gonna have this conversation. So because he allowed it, and I could say what I needed to say, and really all I needed to say was, I forgive you. I'm not mad at you. I love you. I could see that you're hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been hurt too. You know, it was everybody in the situation was hurt. Everybody. You know what I'm saying? But being 6 years old, I had no voice, and I didn't have it for a long time. But I could react. You know what I'm saying? I went to counselors, and they couldn't get nothing out of me. You know what I'm saying? I had some traumatic experiences throughout life. You know what I'm saying? I found myself repeating patterns in relationships even. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, why can't I get what it is I'm looking for? Why do I have to keep running into the same types of individuals? But it stems back to my father. It stemmed back to that relationship, and not even so much just with me, but with he and my mother, you know what I'm saying, which led to a whole other, issue. But because of that, I became a person that was drawing the same type of people that was like my father, not knowing that, not really realizing that's what this is. I'm looking for my father again in these men But what was in my father, I didn't like it. But that's what I knew. That's what was in me. That's what I saw continuously. So subconsciously, I'm looking for what I'm familiar with, even though I didn't like it. I don't want this. I don't want to accept this. I'm bigger than this. I'm better than this. Why can't I have what I want? What I need was just for me. I don't want to share. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be in no third-party relationships. I don't want none of that shit. I want mine, right. And that's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I had to go through that. Like I said, it was just yesterday. Okay, after the Monday, I'm having a whole conversation about healing. Just yesterday, I'm speaking out loud some things that I'm realizing, and it took me back. Like I could just keep going back. And when it got back to my dad and that relationship and my mom and their relationship, I was like, okay, I got it. This is where this came from. So now I can make a decision on what I'm going to do from now on because I got the information. I know where this shit's coming from. I know what's happening. I'm not going to carry that energy. I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm not going to be guilty. None of that. I'm making a decision as of yesterday to live my life healed. I can heal me. I'm a healer. I'm going to heal me. I'm going to make the decision. I'm going to be happy. And I'm going to get what I want because I deserve what I want. And that's that. So, yes, ma'am, I have had plenty, I've had a couple, situations that were very traumatic in my life. But I've taught myself to not hold on to them. I've learned that all of those things have an energy that I don't like. I don't like feeling that. I don't like the experience of that vibration. So I'm changing it. I'm not going to keep that in my head. I'm not going to let my thoughts control me. I'm going to control what I think about. I'm going to control where I put my energy, and I'm going to control my life, period. That's it.
So
that's how I'm moving.
That's deep. That's deep. So I'm curious, R. Marie, because I know you said that, and I think this actually can go to R. Marie and Dr. A. Marie, because I think you said both of your parents were actually married, like in the house home together, and they split up at a time that you remember. So I'm curious. I'll start with you first, R. Marie, and then I'll go to Dr. A. Marie. But was you ever angry at your parents for separating? Did you feel any type of?
I missed my dad. I wasn't angry because I still got to see my father a lot, but the change was very different. We did suffer some hardship times, but my mom always kind of made it fun. Like, it was a period of time when the electric went out, but we had a lot of candles. You know what I'm saying? And then I had a lot of brothers and sisters, and we're all kind of stair-stepped. So, we made the best out of it, and there's times that because my father was always a quiet man. And that, Trish. He was a man of a few words.
Right.
So he, he was, and even when I went over there at just his house, he was still a quiet man. And then you go through the teenage years and you challenge your mother and you can get out. And I went to my dad, like, look. Well, and that wasn't even the teenage years. I was freshly married, but my husband was in the service. He was still going through boot camp and training. But me and my mother could not get along. And I'm like, you know what? And then I had, my brothers and sisters, and everybody had a lot of friends. So the house I needed some peace and quiet, and I wasn't getting it. So I called my dad, and he was just about to rent out his couple of rooms, for no extra cash. And I'm like, Dad, I cannot stay here with her. I need your help. He was like, well, you come on, and I just, so I've always had a close relationship with my father. Now, I didn't talk to him every single day. I didn't see the necessity of that. Then as a teenager, they were not the most important people in my life. My friends, boyfriends, had took front base at that time. But he was always there when I needed him, always. And then my senior year, he gave me a credit card that I could use. But my senior year of high school, I also had a son, a fresh 2-3 months old son, So he gave me one of his credit cards. He added me to his little credit card. So he said, if you ever need diapers and stuff like that, you can get them. So I always had access. So he was still there. But I also didn't have a problem coming to him like, Daddy, I got a problem, So I would talk to him, and he would be there. And I remember as a girl, my grandfather took care of 9 children because my grandmother was mental, and I just assumed she was dead. But I always saw my grandfather didn't really talk a lot either. But anytime his kids needed anything, I saw that he was there. He didn't have a lot of money where he could just bail them out. But if they needed a place to stay, and then every Sunday, and then all out of these 9 children, everybody had at least 3 or more. Most of them, the average household size was 5 kids. Every single Sunday, this little man had dinner made every Sunday by 3 o'clock. I mean, in his 2-bedroom house, and his yard was just filled with nothing but family. And every Sunday, it was just great. So my father was still there. It did feel a little different. We did get a little bit more freedom because my father may not have said nothing, but if he saw us do something, my mother was a disciplinarian. So, of course, he would tell her, and then she put on her Superwoman cape, pulled off some switches, and it was on and popping. So we were able to get away with a little bit more with my mom being there as a single parent. My father was still pretty prominent in my life. So I was blessed.
Well, that's what's up. So what about you, Dr. A. Marie? Dr. A. Marie? Okay, she must have stepped away from the phone. So
it's a question for Marvin. Is Marvin on the phone?
Yeah, he's still here.
Yes.
Cedric has a question for you. He says, what kind of man were you before you found love from your mom? And did your father ever tell you he loved you, and when?
He told me, my dad told me he loved me. It was some years ago. His relationship didn't affect me like that, I think, because of the absentee.
Right.
My mother became, my everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked to her for the strength. And so once that happened, then, I was good. But it affected me. Before we had that conversation, oh my God, man. Like, I would cringe holding hands with my wife in public. It was like, ugh. It felt strange and weird to me. I was like, ugh. It was like it made my flesh crawl. And even with my daughters, it was, I love my daughters, but that affection, I couldn't show it like that, because I didn't know what that was like. Right. So I couldn't give what I didn't have. So by me and my mom having that conversation, man, that just it went to levels. So now, my relationship had become stronger with my daughters, even my grandkids, and even my me and one of my daughters, we like real close, and we talk about like me and my mom talk. We talk about relationships and real stuff, and we talk about, vibrations and elevation. She's real conscious. So yeah, she come to me for counseling. Hey, Dad, she don't even go to her mom. She come to me.
Wow.
And so, and she's like, yeah, like, what you think about this, Dad? And woo, and she's a strong black young woman. She got now 5 kids now. But I respect her, man. She is definitely a queen, man. She is like, she's. And so, and I'll call her, hey, what you think about this? And I even did that with my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter, she was staying with me. I was like, hey, what you think about this? Because I value, and I told her, I said, listen, I value you. Yeah, you may be, at the time, she was about 16, 17. I said, I value you. I respect you. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, okay.
And just have no conversation. And she would give me what she thought.
Right.
And so, if that answers his question, huh?
Yeah, he was asking what type of person you were basically before.
I wasn't mean. I wasn't a mean-spirited person. If that, let me break. I wasn't a mean-spirited person. I was still kind. I was still giving. I was doing my daughter's hair, putting plaits in it, and ironing their clothes, grocery shopping, cooking for them. I was still doing that stuff. Hey, let's go to church. Let's go. Wherever I need to take them, I was taking them. But it was just that love thing, like that. I love you. Let me hug you. What is that?
So before that conversation, you weren't able to, outside of the bedroom, because of course you got kids, so we know you was affectionate inside the bedroom. But outside the bedroom, on a regular, you found it difficult to show physical affection to, like, I'm talking about before this conversation. You found it difficult to show affection to the women in your life? Yeah,
it was that I love yous and the holding hands, that effect. Yeah, it was strange for me. Yeah, it's a different kind of.
It's like a foreign language.
Yeah, it was definitely foreign. Yeah. It's a different type of
foreign
affection when you're intimate with somebody versus just having a casual, conversation of just sitting and holding hands and I did some of that stuff at home, but it was like in public. It was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this. It was strange to me. And wow. But after the conversation, I and over the time it started, healing, and it's like, man, okay, all right. Now, guess what? I start to see things. Okay, all right. Now I start to take a searching and fearless moral inventory of myself. So now I stop being in denial about a lot of things. I'm like, Marv, okay, I don't like this about you. So you need to change you. So I'm looking at myself. I'm taking a self-reflection, a diagnostic of myself. So I do that on a regular basis. So it's like, okay, am I going to counseling and talk to somebody, get on somebody's couch? This is what I've been doing for years. I know the past 2 decades. Marvin, I don't like that about you. Yeah, you need to do this. You need to change. And so by me keep confronting myself, because that's one thing, we can fool everybody else, but we can't fool ourselves.
That's right.
So I got a question for you, Marvin. When's the last time you held a woman's hand in public? When's the last time you held your girlfriend or your lover's hand and walked in the park? Since then. In the park, it's been over the years. Not just the park, but when's the last time you actually showed public affection and held a woman's hand? Well, it's been over the years, here and there. Okay. It's not uncomfortable for me. It's not uncomfortable for me. It's not uncomfortable for me to hold somebody's hand in public. To hug them or to kiss, it's not uncomfortable for me. Show affection, signs of affection in public. Yeah, I can definitely all right,
do
so the next time you got a phone, go ahead and take a picture of you kissing your girlfriend and put it up. That's public affection. Then I'll believe it.
Well, not even that. Just hold hands. Like, you don't even have to be a girlfriend. It could be a friend girl. Anybody. You don't even have to be that intimate. Just anybody. Any female that you cool with that's tight itself. Just holding hands.
I'm single. I don't have a girlfriend, but like she said, just showing affection it don't have to be a sexual thing. Just showing affection, embracing, hugging. Every time we at the skating rink or me and Kim see each other, we embrace each other. or be other females at the skating rink. They embrace me and like, man, I needed this hug.
Right.
So it's like different places I go. If I'm at the dance, dancing, females will hug me. Like, man, you feel good, thank you. So it's nothing because I understand. I understand the power and the significance of just a hug.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
So I'm curious because Missy is being real quiet back there in the back somewhere, her and Miss Marie. So Missy, I'm curious because I know that you talked about not having your father in your life as well. So did you ever get an opportunity to say anything to him about how you feel?
Well, I got the man that raised me and then my biological dad. I actually spoke with both of them, and they're both very open-minded and forthcoming. But my mom, on the other, and I accepted their answers. I don't hold nobody, neither one of them or my mom, accountable for anything because you can't give somebody something that you ain't got. It's just not, you can't. There's no way. Right. When I had the conversation with my mom, she just like shut it down immediately. And that spoke louder to me than any words. Mm-hmm. That showed me a lot. It told me a lot. Her body language showed me everything I needed to know, and I accepted that as her answer because I didn't want to force her to go into detail, because I just didn't want to see, that was enough for me. But I don't blame neither one of them for anything. Because, like I said, you cannot get something from somebody that they don't have. But I remember when I was 19 and my older sister was 21, and we went to my mom. One of her friends actually was, telling us, like, y'all need to talk to y'all's mom. Like, come on, I'll go in there with y'all. Y'all need to really talk to y'all's mom. Y'all seem to be talking to everybody else but your mother. So, she went in with us, and we was talking to Mommy, and, we expressed how when we was little, she never told us that she loved us, and that really affected us. But from that day forward, because that broke her down. We also shared other information as far as our molestations and rapes with our cousins with her, and it broke her down. She was so broken, and became more of an alcoholic after we told her, And but from that day forward, she told us she told us from that day forward that she loved us, and she told us that every single day since I was 19 years old. So and that helped a lot. Go ahead. So you feel like now, so as an adult, when you've chosen the men in your life, do you feel like that do you feel like you've done like him, like you're actually searching for your father type thing in the relationships? For me, it's just searching for something that was never there. You know what I'm saying? The love that was never given to me or expressed to me. Like I said, Mommy never told us that she loved us when she was raising us. And it was like really different because my grandmother, when she had us, she showed affection and love. So I was like, well, why don't Mommy show this kind of love? If Mom got it in her, why ain't Mommy showing it? Like, I don't understand. But me growing up, I realized everybody don't keep what they're taught.
Right.
So go ahead, Patricia. No, I was somebody was about to say something. So, like with my father and my stepdad, as far as looking for it was just I was just looking for the love, period. I never got it from nobody, so I never knew what it was. I was looking for something that haven't nobody showed me to this day. So that's why I am going to be single and learn how to love myself. Mm-hmm. And when you learn how to love yourself, that's when people learn how to love you. And until then, I will be single. And I will say that until the day I die, because can't nobody love me like I can love myself.
That's
you know,
true.
right.
Don't block it. Don't block it, though. Don't block it. Don't block it. Don't block it. I mean, you can definitely love yourself better than anybody else once you are honest with yourself and you've done your shadow and then you've gone through your tower moments and all that. Absolutely do that, but don't block yourself from receiving it. The thing is to get yourself to the point that when you know you love you enough, then you'll attract the love that you give. Right now, if you are in a toxic relationship with yourself, you will attract a toxic person. When you love you and you know that you are in a healthy space to give healthy, true, genuine love, when you can give that, then you'll receive that same thing. You'll receive your reflection. So don't block it.
Right.
Just prepare yourself to receive it.
And see, that right there is like that right there is like a lot for me because of the different kind. You know, everybody look at love as something different. You know, everybody's love is different. Their love language and stuff. And I don't know. If somebody showed me, say, if I tell you, like, this is bothering me, like, please don't do that again, and even if you slip up and do it, I'm like, wrong answer, buddy. Strike two. You're done. Like, seriously, because I'm not giving nobody. We ain't about to keep on doing it over and over again after I done told you the first time, and then I let you do it the first time, and then the second time. It's a done deal, you know. As far as counseling, and what's so ironic to me is when I used to go to counseling sessions through Children's Hospital, and then when I got old enough, I went and sought for counseling for myself. You know, I was always denied, and the reason that the conclusion I always came to is because my outer shell is so strong of a stance. People look at me and be like, oh, she got it all together. That girl don't need no help. I was always denied counseling, always denied counseling. I never understood that.
Well, I remember when I was young, I remember going to counseling, especially once my grandmother had custody of me, and I remember her taking me to counseling, and I remember I felt like they didn't believe me. Like when I was telling them the things that I went through, I felt like they didn't. You know, they basically told me they didn't believe me. You know what I'm saying? And so that made me feel, you know, a certain kind of way. But like I told Marvin that time, going back to that discussion that we had, when you asked me was I healed from my childhood, you know, abuse or whatever, and I'm like, yeah. But it wasn't until it was after you asked me that, and I always talk about this, and then I went to Chicago, and literally missed my plane to get to my job at the right time, so I ended up going to the movies and went to the movies to see the movie The Shack. And I know all of y'all have heard of either the book or the movie, but it was playing at that, you know, at that time. I'm like, let me go see a movie. And so when I went in there and I watched that movie, I had never cried. I had never cried. I just always like, I forgive him. You know, I understand it is what it is. I forgive him. But I had never cried until I saw that movie. And when it ended, I was the only one left in the theater, and I cried so hard. I'm talking about some crocodile type tears. I cried, and I asked God, why? Like, I was so innocent. I was a little girl. Like, why? Why did I have to have this kind of a life? How come I couldn't have a life like all, you know, what I've seen on TV? Or why did you choose this for me? Like, I cried. I really, really, really did. And when I came back, I realized that there were some things in me that I probably hadn't addressed. And like I said, at this point, even now at 51, I have not yet went to my father and had that conversation and asked him why. I did with my stepmother at about 16, but I never with my father. But I did notice a pattern with myself in relationships. I would get with men that was not able to be there emotionally and was in and out, and then at the first sign of trouble, I would run. That was my way of escape. Anytime things got bad, and I felt like I couldn't handle it, you know, I would leave. It don't mean I wouldn't go back, but I would leave. Like, that was my way of escape. And I noticed that pattern. Like, I picked these controlling men who were not able to show affection, and then I would go through the experience with them, and then I would leave, but I'd go back and leave and go. It's just crazy, and I feel like a lot of that probably stems down to that not having my father was around, but he wasn't present, and maybe even felt a little bit like, you know, maybe deep inside without recognizing that I was angry at him, like, why didn't you save me? Like, why didn't you come to my rescue? Like, how come you allowed this woman to do this to your child? Like, why? You know, I went through all those emotions, but it wasn't until after Marvin actually asked me that question and I started analyzing and I saw that movie. So for me, that was a therapy without being on anybody's couch, because as a child, when I went to a therapist, I never had a good experience because it's like the abuse was so horrific that they thought I was lying. So, you know, how do you tell an 8-year-old child that she's lying about these things that she's telling you when she has the scars on her body to prove that she's not lying? Right. It was deep. It was deep. So I have definitely
what was the name of this
gone
movie?
Through. Huh?
What was the name of this movie?
It was called The Shack. Huh?
The Shack?
Yeah, The Shack.
Yeah, The Shack.
It's S-H-A-C-K. It was The Shack.
I've never heard of it.
You ain't never heard of that or the book? I read the book. I didn't see the movie. And I just put it on Amazon to see so I could watch the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like to cry. Ain't nothing like a good old cry.
Oh, girl, it'll have you in there boo-hooing like, if you touch me like you touch me, it'll have you in there boo-hooing like hell, you know what I'm saying? But I think that obviously and it's so funny because that day I had my whole trip planned out. I was supposed to be at work on time. I had everything planned. But that wasn't God's plan because I ended up getting on the wrong shuttle that took me to the International Atlanta Airport, that took me around here over the Meadow Center Woods. By the time I got to my plane, it was like, oh, you're too late. Like, everything was happening to keep me from getting to my appointment on time. And I remember as I was getting up to get off the plane, the stewardess was saying hi to everybody, but when he got to me, he said, take the day off. So I feel like that was a setup. I feel like that was God's setup because I was meant to have that connection, that moment, that time between me and God,
right.
But it was ministered through me, to me, through this movie, because I'm telling you, nobody was in that freaking theater but me because I went in the afternoon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was deep. I just want to flip it real quick. I just want to say for all you parents, for all you mothers and fathers out there, especially, you know, the ones who the mothers, you're keeping you're doing it. You're the one that's keeping your child from building a relationship with the father, or if you're a father, you got to you have custody of your children, and you're the one that's keeping the mother from bonding with her kids. That's so wrong. It's so wrong, regardless, unless it's an abusive relationship or whatever. It's so wrong for you to deny your child to have that relationship with that parent just because you mad, or just because you wanted more money on your child support check, or just because whatever the situation is, but it's you, that father or that mother calling you. I want to get her. I want to come this weekend. I want, and you playing games. That's wrong because you're hurting your child. And here we are as adults talking about the pain that we experienced as a child. So you have to understand this is a generational thing. I mean, who wants to piggyback off of that?
You are absolutely correct. That's how people's feelings come in. It's those feelings that cause that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to repeat what my logo or slogan is. Y'all already know. But when people are
F your feelings, I know it. F your feelings.
You already know. What happens is that, particularly with women, when women don't get what they need from that man, then it becomes a controlling thing. If I can't get what I need from you, then you're not going to get what you want. So because I have what you want, you're going to have to give me what I need. It's controlling. It's manipulative. I mean, I guess that would go both ways, but it usually doesn't as far as that part is concerned. Women strike back in a different way than men do. Women strike back in a way that gets them emotionally and, of course, financially, but it gets them emotionally. It puts them in a place where they don't know how to respond, because that is the one space that they deny themselves true access to, is the emotion. They deny themselves that vulnerability. They lie to themselves that they even experience any of that. So that's the first place she goes to attack, because there's nothing he can do about it. There's nothing he's ready to do about it. So she knows automatically, I'm going to win this. It's like going straight to the head with a bullet. You ain't going to duck that. You're not going to survive that, most likely. I'm going straight to the temple. You out of here with that. They're vulnerable. They're wide open. They're wide open with that.
But that is actually how most women are made. Most women are 90% of the women on this earth are built on emotion. You know, they're emotional. I mean, and then, like, say you with this guy and you just loved him so much, you had no idea he had this whole nother life. You know, and then when it finally comes full surface and full circle, I mean, and let's say he decides he just going to roll with that life. Now that he done been busted, he decides he's just going to go to the other side where he thinks the grass is greener. I mean, then you left high and dry. He's refusing to help you with bills because he's too busy trying to wine and dine new girlfriends and stuff. So, you know, then the only thing, and then if they're not the type of guy who, you know, was really, you know, like Dr. Amory was saying, was there but still absent because they was busy doing other shit really to raise the kid. They was just a body in the home. Then, I mean, my whole thing is this. Women are very emotional, because I was about to drift off into some whole other stuff. But women are very emotional, and men think logically, like, okay, I'm done with you, but these are still my kids, you know. And so there was well, I had one of my brothers and sisters' friends that passed away. Now, for whatever reason, him and his baby's mom, his mother and his baby's mom did not get along. I don't know why, you know. And then she was always old, and I can't stand that bed. And the girl was saying the same thing about his mom. Now, unfortunately, the young man got killed this year. Well, last year. He got killed last year. And that was her only child, and that's her only grandchild. But the girl would not let the mom stay her. She wanted nothing to do with her. You know, and that's wrong. She's angry. You know, because she still had a relationship with the son. You know, I don't know if they were still in a relationship, but he was, she even got mad enough where she packed her shit and moved out of town. But the mom has been trying to reach out. You know, she's like, hey, you know, you ain't want to be bothered with me, and I'm all kind of bees, and that you'll never see your grandson. You know, good luck with that. You know, and that's like, because, and the woman is she's fallen behind that, because she's mourning her only child, and then her only grandchild, the girl picked up and moved to Indiana. So it's just, and then he, you know, one of his visits on the way back in Indiana from spending time with his son, on his way back at the gas station, got into with somebody at the gas station over some damn gas, and he got shot and killed.
Wow.
No, wow.
Real quick, if I could just I want to say this real quick. To be fair, women are emotional, but so are men. Men just don't outwardly express that. Women are more emotionally reactive than men. We quick to show you outwardly how we feel
and I'm
internally.
not ashamed of it. I've not done a lot of horrible things, but the things that I've had to go, you know, because once I reach a boiling point, it's like, oh, shit, it's all out war. It's bar none. Let's get it. You know, hey, you done unleashed a wildcat, you know, that's been just kind of building up. Plus, a lot of women take a lot of shit before they will put up with a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying that men don't, but in most relationships, you see that the controlling, the alpha male in that house is usually the man. when it's a couple thing. It's usually the man. So women take in more shit. So when you finally get mad enough, where you gonna be mad, what is gonna hurt the man the most? That's actually a good father that enjoys being a father. And it's unfortunate because I've been guilty of it, but I've seen plenty. I've seen more women use their children as pawns that I've not seen. I'll put it that way.
Right.
So I'm looking at your live.
If you don't give them money.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at your live, and you have somebody who, Miss Erica Brown Wilkes. She said mothers need to also take accountability for having a lack of judgment in choosing fathers or baby daddies. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but when you get with somebody and you end up in the back seat of the truck and you come up pregnant, you know what I'm saying? That's you. I mean, and you just decide.
Don't end up in the back seat of the truck. That's a decision. That's a decision that leads to a consequence. Don't make that decision that end up in the back seat of the truck.
But
but everybody's
like, hello, am I on here? Can I hear? Can you hear me?
You still.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Well, what's your thoughts on it? You're the only man on the phone. What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
I want to know.
Because this is like double dutch, and I tried to come in like 6 times. And, am I muted?
Well, the 7th time is a charm, so here you go. What you got to say?
I had to do a little double dutch, just go and jump on in. So back to the whole healing thing is just for those out there who are listening and you don't have the person that you feel like who did you wrong or didn't give you what you needed and they're no longer here or you don't have the courage, then what you're going to do. You know, so what I've been doing over the past 2+ decades is and what helped me to heal a lot faster is I look myself in the mirror and I'll tell myself who I am.
Amen.
You're powerful.
Yep.
Marvin, you're strong. You're healed. You're this. Whatever I wanted to be, even though I may feel some kind of way, you still no. You got to push through this thing. You got to push through this, whatever you want, because you have the power on the inside of you, regardless of who didn't give it to you. You still have a duty and a responsibility that you owe to yourself.
It's called
every
being
day.
accountable.
Accountable to your own stuff to say, I am going to be this. And so I don't have to do it as often, but I still look at the mirror like, yeah, okay. I do a self-check. It's very often, but I used to do it all the time in the mirror. Look myself eyeball to eyeball and just stare at myself and just look. How many people do that? And you just look for minutes and just stare and just stare at yourself. And you look at you, for the eyes are the windows of the soul, and you look at yourself. And if whatever you feel, I know Ken say F your feelings, but whatever coming out and whatever you feel and your feelings is coming out and it's awry or it's awkward and it's not productive or it's not fruitful, did you check it? No, we not going there. No. I understand that you went through this, but, baby, we're going to pick up the pieces, me, myself, and I. And so guess what I had to do when I was discouraged, going back to what the brother was asking, when I was getting discouraged as a grown man, actually I went back and talked to my 8-year-old self to get encouragement from him.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? It's like, dude. So I had to go back. I remember little Marvin. He was 8 years old. He was an entrepreneur. He was hustling. He was grinding. He had no fear. So guess what I had to do? I had to go tap into little Marvin from back in the 80s. Tap into him and get some strength from this little guy.
Right.
But that's taking searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself. But if you don't have that and nothing to go to, then you start from where you are.
Absolutely.
Talk to
yourself. To add on to what you're saying, Marvin, if I can reiterate real quick, Patricia, when you because you asked the question, what do you do? The person that you need to talk to is not there. Okay, if the person that you need to talk to that person, if they're not available, what do you do? And that's what I was saying. If you just speak it out loud, even if you record what's going on in your head, you got to get it out of your head. That's how I started my healing process years ago. Was I would just record what was going on with me. I didn't filter it. I dated it and timed it when I started. And I got out everything I needed to get out, and then I waited a week or a couple of days, and then I played it back so I could hear what I was saying. I could hear my emotions. I could hear what I was going through, and then I could hear my advice to myself. So if you don't have that person available, still speak it, because the power of the tongue releases the emotional trauma that's in your mind. There is an energy to that. We talk about that all the time. Energy is everything. When it comes out of your mouth, it comes out of your mouth with a certain vibration that's higher than what's going on in your mind. So get it out of there. Speak to somebody, even if it's just yourself. If you can't go to that person, speak it in a recording, but speak it out.
So I think Dr. A. Marie wanted to jump in. You double dutch? You want to jump in?
Oh, no, hell no. I ain't got the energy to double dutch. Listen, I let people jump rope that want to jump the rope. Jump the damn rope, keep going. I get in where I can fit
Patricia,
in.
give a number real quick. Give the call-in number. Give the call-in number.
So listen,
okay.
My thinking is, right, where we fail as a people, we fail at taking responsibility for our behaviors, whatever those are. Right? It doesn't matter if you you are very emotionally expressive or you're not emotionally expressive. The bottom line, it comes down to, again, taking responsibility about your actions and how you behave towards other people. I could have stayed bitter if I wanted to at my children's father. I had in my head every right to do that, but that wouldn't be a benefit to my children at all. So I had to put that aside, and that was a conscious choice. It wasn't easy. I didn't like it. I thought all kinds of shit about him in my head. I wished all kinds of stuff about him in my head. But one thing my children will tell you today, and they're adults, is that they never knew that. They never heard that, right? A lot of times we want to blame other people for our actions, and unfortunately, fortunately, some of those people are dead and gone. And we're still blaming them for what we're doing or for what we're not doing. So I feel like it comes back to taking responsibility, each person, for your actions. Take it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Own it, and then act accordingly and not blame other people for it. You can do it all day. I tell my patients all the time, how's that working for you? Your mom is gone. Your mom passed away. Your dad abandons you. You don't know where the hell he is. And yet you out here, you on drugs, you strung out, you mistreating your children, being an absent parent, just like your dad did. How's that working out for you? Well, you don't understand. The one thing that I hear often is, you don't understand. You never been. Listen, honey, let me tell you. I'm sitting in this chair across from you. I've been abused. I've had cigarettes put out on me. I've been raped, molested, shot at, you name it.
Wow.
And yet I still pick my head up. It ain't easy some days. My work is all trauma filled. Everybody that comes to me got some kind of trauma, or I'm going to a crime scene. Right? So it's a choice. It's a conscious choice.
Right, absolutely.
Doing it.
Yep.
And you can say, well, I don't have a choice. No, you always have a choice. You just don't want the consequences that come along with making some choices, but you have a choice.
That part.
Right.
Some people just don't want to be held accountable. That's all that is.
The calling number is 516. The calling number is 516-387-1247. 516-387-1247. So I'm actually on your page, Kim, and
yes, I said, yes, ma'am. I see you.
a G-Man posted something, and I definitely want to read that. And G-Man, if you're on the line, we'd definitely like to hear you talk about it. 516-387-1247. But G-Man said it's genetic post-traumatic slave syndrome has a major effect on every darker person on the planet, especially us who are descendants of slaves in America, who receive and experience the worst treatment that human beings have ever experienced, which is the worst slavery in history of the planet, which is the worst slavery in the history of the planet. And our relationships reflect this reality, which has affected every single one of us, all the way down to every infant. That's deep. So, what are y'all thoughts about that? Who wants to address that? That comment?
It affects you, but how you respond to it and your outward actions as a result of it are up to you.
Yeah.
Not saying that any of this, again, it goes back to none of this is easy. And yeah, we're suffering from the sins of our grandfathers. Shit that they went through. We're still suffering from that. But what is your outward reaction as a response to it? Take some responsibility for that.
Right.
Cedric said he's on the phone and nobody can hear him.
There's
Patricia, that's like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
There's a caller that wants to. Okay. So caller, your number is 522. You call in to on Unscripted Ladies Roundtable Discussion. How you doing? Tell us your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, this is Cedric Golden. I'm calling from Atlanta.
What's going on, Cedric?
Hey, I had a question.
Okay.
I had a question. Y'all said something about alpha males earlier, and the question I had was why it sounded like y'all was connected. I wanted to know why. That's the question.
I'm sorry. Repeat the question. It sound like what?
So y'all was talking about alpha males being controlling, and I wanted to know why you think that.
Well, first of all, Dr. A. Marie, I just feel like, the meaning that we attach to certain words keep us stuck. And controlling isn't necessarily a bad thing. And as a female with, feminine and masculine energy, the only time that my masculine energy presents itself when I'm in proximity to a male or in a relationship with a male is when his feminine energy overrules his masculine energy. In other words, when I can't trust him, when I don't feel protected, then my masculine energy kicks in. But as a female, I don't mind a male that is controlling, which is different than abusive.
I just don't understand controlling. I'm trying to understand the word. You're using the word controlling. I don't understand. You need to define that a little bit more.
Well, think about how
I don't think any man should try to control any grown woman. I don't get it.
You control your car.
So
when you're driving it down the road, you can.
Yeah, but you don't control a woman. You don't control a person. That's why I don't understand the word.
So can I jump in real quick? As I pulled up the definition of alpha male, the text definition, it says the dominant male animal in a particular group. So when you even break down what the word dominant is, in order to be dominating, you have to have some controlling going on in there, right? Like how do you dominate without controlling? I mean, I'm just curious.
No example. I can show you a perfect example. You don't control anything. You show example of, and everybody makes their choice, and they deal with their choice. As an alpha in my family, I did things. I still do things by if Daddy shows you to do this, and this is a consequence if you don't, then okay, I'll be there for you when you fall and bump your head. But I'm going to let you make that choice. That's the way I raise my kids anyway.
So
you know,
even when you break down the definition of the alpha male, and this is tech stuff, it says dominate, and the definition of dominate is have a commanding influence on or exercise control over. So that's
why I said that word is not a good. It's not a good description for an alpha male. Is what I'm saying. I mean, that's the only description you're giving is control. I don't agree with that. I don't feel that.
That's the description of alpha male, though.
But that's a negative connotation. You're saying the way that it's written is a negative connotation because you can be an alpha male and alpha female and just walk in a room and say and do nothing. That's an energetic presence.
Exactly.
So it doesn't mean that you're controlling it by something that you are actively doing. Your energy is more overpowering or stronger than or whatever that which you are around. It doesn't have to be that you're manipulating, directly a circumstance or a situation. It's just your energy, who you are, your essence of self is stronger than energetically those that you are currently around.
Yes,
controlling just doesn't have to be a negative.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
but
like,
it has a negative connotation. That's what
but you're applying. That's why I asked the question. You're applying it to alpha male. I'm an alpha male, always has been, but I've never been controlling at all especially with my family. So when you put that connection there, it's like I'm trying to figure out what do you mean? Because that's not a good word for alpha male. You understand? It's not a good word that goes with that.
Well, what word would
you got? Because you got guys that are control freaks. I call them control freaks. I know guys like that. They want to control every little thing goes on in their house, and they're strict and they're, to me, abusive, dysfunctional, and everything they say go. That's not a good situation to be in. So when you say alpha male, you're connecting that word to that, and I don't agree with that.
Well, let's bring in this caller and see what their thoughts are about alpha male. So, caller, your number has 647. You call in on Move Unscripted. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and then what are your thoughts about the title alpha male?
This is Patrick calling from Toronto. How you ladies doing? How's everyone doing?
It's been a minute. Where you been?
I know.
Where you been, Patrick?
Listen, I got to catch the show more often. I really do. But as far as alpha is concerned, an alpha is like an ultra, right? So when you say alpha male, that means more of ultra masculine. When you say alpha female, it's not supposed to mean ultra masculine. It's supposed to mean ultra feminine.
Right.
So really, if you look at the both ends of the spectrum, an alpha male is supposed to be, a masculine, ultra masculine. An alpha female really is supposed to be ultra feminine. And then you have the beta of both also. So that's really what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be two ends of the spectrum, the male and female spectrum. So that's that. But as far as, alpha male, I mean, it's one of those things that has, some negative connotations, some positive stuff. But I think, when you start talking about alpha, you start talking about the masculine quality.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the control part of that question? The question I was asking.
That it doesn't have really anything to do with control. Those are other things.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's what.
Those are other. That's something else. That's not an alpha. The alpha.
Yeah, exactly.
If you put control in there, the only place where you can put control is that the alpha has control over himself and his environment.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
He controls himself and he controls his orbit. Those who are around him, those who are near him, his environment, he has a certain amount of control over that. Now, that doesn't mean that's not neither positive or negative. It all depends on how wise he is and how smart, but those are other things. But that's all it means. It's just the masculine part of who he is. That's it.
Yeah, if I wanted to say control, it would in my family. If I wanted to say control, it would have been more my wife being controlling because she wanted what she wanted when she wanted it. You know what I'm saying? So, right. Yeah. So she would, if you want to put that word control on it, that would apply more to her. But even though I was the alpha, you know what I'm saying?
Now, if we're going to talk about control. Yeah, we got to talk about. It's funny. I was just having another, and I think the brother knows where I'm going. If you're talking about control, I don't think it's just, especially in today's time. I think you have to talk about both men and women because I think equally, maybe even towards women, the control factor is a big thing these days.
Yeah, exactly. These days, especially. Huge.
Absolutely. I mean, to the extent that they're trying to not just say what they want, they're telling men what men should want.
Exactly.
Like that part. What you want.
Preach.
Like what? Really?
Preach.
So that's all I have to say on that. I don't want to get too far into it. You know what I mean?
Thanks for clarifying, Patrick. That's all right.
Wow.
I know I ain't silly here.
Y'all having a powwow understanding. This is the ladies' roundtable session. Y'all need to took over.
We're going to let them have that. We're going to let them have that because we just decided because Patrick's back in on the line. We're going to let them have it. We let y'all have it. Y'all got to pass tonight.
And not only that, but now I have a more clear understanding of how men think. I mean, it's crazy how we thought of controlling an alpha mother. At least I did. This is Armory. I did. Okay. I didn't see the difference. So thank you.
There is a difference.
Both gentlemen. Okay, and thank you for putting it clear. So now, as I move forward, I will know the difference and I will speak the difference. So for that, I thank you for your point of view because I didn't even look at it your way.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's all I had.
I think
it's a very.
I think you should want an alpha male. I mean, I think most women should want. Now, the other qualities, we need to talk about those things. But you kind of want a man who's masculine. And I think with what happened last year, scared people were, and women happen to go out and go to the grocery store and they're scared they're going to catch something or whatever. I think in times of chaos, you want somebody smart, you want somebody intelligent, but you want an alpha male, especially in times of chaos. You want alpha males around.
And a true definition of alpha male, because you got a lot of brothers who not that. They acting like they that, but they're not really that. You got a lot of cowards out there perpetrating it and acting like they something they not. To be an alpha male, you have to show it in your actions.
When women
constantly.
Do, in times of crisis, your brother, whoever said that, was that Patrick? I don't know who said that, but it's true.
Yeah,
I agree with that. In a crisis type situation or whatever, like what went on with the pandemic, like I feel like I had a sense of peace more than I normally would have because, I got with someone during the pandemic and he really did give me help to ease my nerves and gave me a peace of mind during that time when things was really, really crazy. So you're right. I like a strong man. I just like a strong man who's also affectionate. The problem that I have seen from a lot of men is they have that alpha man or that strong, that dominant whatever, but then they don't know how to touch the sensitive side, the emotional side. They don't know how to switch. It's like, okay, you're alpha, and thank you for being that alpha male, but now I need the sensitive. I need you to just come and hug me and say it's going to be all right and let me feel the sensitive side of you. I think that's where some men have a hard time with doing. They're used to being the man, but then they don't always know how to switch. Say
that again. Some men, because I love cuddling with a woman and the essence of a female up under me. I love it. So I don't, those guys that you're describing, I don't relate to that. They're missing. They're missing out. They're missing out. They're missing out because just having a female just watching her it's fascinating to me. So I love it. I love to see them. I love the female around, the voice. You know, just having a chick around you is it's very affectionate, and expressing that is easy. It's nothing. So these guys that don't do that, I don't really know. I don't know what a guy does.
What's wrong with them?
Yeah, there's something wrong with making love making love to a woman all day. You know, I love shit like that. Showing affection, that should be an afterthought. If you like her, you like her. What's wrong with showing it?
I mean, I'm not the sexual affection. I'm talking about the like what we was talking about with Marvin, like the holding hands and the affection
all of that,
and just
all of that.
Just But you'll listen to a lot of women, and that is their complaint. If you listen to a lot of women, especially married women for some reason, a lot of married women complain, he was very affectionate, he was all that before we got married, but then when we got married, it switched, or he changed, or he's not the man that he was when I was dating him. You know, there's a switch, there's a change, or he wasn't like that before we got married, and now, there's something, I don't know. You hear a lot of married women complain about that.
Yeah, there are men and women who are just emotionally unavailable. For whatever reason, for whatever happened, they're just emotionally unavailable. So we'll put those people to the side, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There are men who are emotionally available, but I think a couple of things. Well, main thing, since we're running out of time, I think is just you have to have what brings out an affection in a man that's emotionally available is the femininity of the woman.
That's right. There you go.
I remember
that word. I love it.
I remember her. I was about to break up with somebody. I was in Montreal, probably 1994, long time ago, and I met this sister, and let me tell you something. When I sat down with her to go eat, I met her somewhere in the store or something like that. We went to go eat. We went to a restaurant. She took me to a Guadalupan restaurant because her parents were from Guadalupe. Beautiful, French accent, the whole shot. And she was when we sat down for dinner, she was so feminine in how she held her hands, how she spoke, how she laughed. And one of the things that I kept thinking, like, man, I want to take care of this woman.
That's right.
Like, I really want to take her and take care of her. I want to shelter her from all this stuff. There's all kinds of these thoughts were going. I was young, but these thoughts go through your mind. That's what femininity brings out in men. We just like, whoa.
So it would have turned you off if she'd have pimp walked in there.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the same. We would have had the same good time. I'm sure. Maybe the same laugh, but the feelings that are evoked would have been different. It wouldn't have been the same. Right? Not to say it would have been bad.
So she would have just been your homie then. You'd have been looking at her like she was your sister, like, because a lot of guys be like, you the sister I never had. Like, what? Hold up. How am I? Like, didn't we just have sex and now you calling me your sister? Like, I'm your homegirl. Like, what is up with that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in other words, she your homegirl, and she would have been different.
I said this
homegirl
before to Kim, and I told Kim in private. When I listen to this show and other women and different things as I get older, it's a lot of dysfunction, and it's a lot of sisters who never had a real man before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like mind-boggling. I told Kim about it. I said, man, I keep meeting these women that are not. They're women, but it's like, wow, I can't get around the abuse they went through or whatever it was they went through.
Right.
You can't remake them. You know what
I
I'm saying?
agree wholeheartedly. I agree 100%. Because sometimes when women talk, I'm like, what kind of men are you guys dating? Like, what's going on?
Exactly. It's like,
y'all need some help. Y'all need some help choosing or something. Like, y'all need to get the dads involved or the brothers involved or something to choose for you.
And then the other one, the other one is, you can't be real. You're putting on airs. It's got to be fake. You're not being yourself. You're not this. It's got to be. Everything's a question. Everything's got to be. Even if you prove yourself, quote, by their standards, they run away. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's weird, and you keep dealing with it over and over. And I keep telling, me and Kim, she counseled me a little bit. So I was like, what, am I doing something wrong? What is it? And I don't know what that answer is. She keeps giving me more counseling, but I keep running into this problem.
Your next session, I'm going to charge you.
And I probably have to come.
If you keep running into that same problem, then it's something within each of these women that have something that is connected, that they have in common. And it's something about that you keep running to. And that's what you really need to address.
Look,
yeah, but
what can
I
one
do
time.
about it? I'm just single. You know what I'm saying? I'm just single, brother.
When Kim said F your feelings, it took me that one time to hear that. Like, that's right, that's it. She answered all my questions. That's it. F your feelings. Yes, I swear to God, I've been riding that ever since she said it. Yes. That is the answer.
But so do you think that F your feelings gives you the permission to put up a wall so that everybody you meet, they meet your impersonator because you got that wall up because you're saying F your feelings, I'm not going to, show them the real
That's
me
not
right
the impersonator,
now,
though.
F my feelings. When I say F your feelings,
that's not
for one,
the
I'm a
impersonator.
Right. That's not. It's not only how you're hearing it. You know what I'm saying? It can go in different ways, but for me,
it definitely goes in different
I don't
ways.
care how you feel. It really does. It goes in all types of different ways in different scenarios.
Completely different.
But
the feelings,
the feelings
individual is the one that's walled. The feelings individual is the misrepresentative, the one that gives you the facts and can hear the facts and respond in facts with the information. That's the true one because they're going to be truthful with what it is. It's not don't feel nothing. That's not what that means. It means don't respond in them because you'll miss the information. You'll miss the facts.
Right.
Feelings falsify facts.
Exactly.
Yes,
And the part we were talking about earlier about the abuse, some that Marvin was describing, and some of these guys you guys were talking about. I said, I was raised with both parents, so I didn't, mom, dad, love you, this, that, that was common, so it still is. So a lot of stuff is new, is eye-opening. It's like, wow, I'm having wow moments all over the place.
Okay.
Listening
if
to
y'all want to continue the conversation on Facebook, I'll stay up for a minute.
Yeah, it's just amazing, man, that people carrying this stuff around like that, and then turn around and think it doesn't have anything to do with what kind of person they are.
Right.
It does.
So, for anybody who's listening, for those who are listening in the United States and for those who are listening outside the United States, because we have a lot of listeners overseas in different countries, if you want to follow on with the after show, I like to call it the after show, then you're going to want to go to Kim McCann's page and follow because, Blog Talk don't care about it, so they'll cut us off in the middle of, you saying, and I click Blog Talk Radio. So anyway, I appreciate y'all. I want to thank everybody that called in. Definitely Kim is going to continue this on, and we'll be back again next week, next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, same channel. And then don't forget to tune in on Wednesday when me and Mr. Stout do our thing. And that's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Blog Talk Radio. Anyway, we appreciate y'all. We got much love for
Appreciate
y'all.
you.
Ladies Roundtable discussion, unscripted, on purpose. Understand that it's on purpose. If you don't remember nothing else, just remember it's on purpose. Peace and love to y'all. See y'all next week. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Later.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
I had a feeling that me and you were gonna be down for the long ride. Girl, I had a feeling that the way that you touched me never made me feel so alive. I'm gonna dive right into your body, no I won't lie. Legs in the air, I'm taking you there, run my fingers down your spine. Never a day I'm spending away, wanna be with you all the time. You're the first thing that I think of when I wake up, baby, and you know how to make love. I don't wanna leave your side, I got your back, I know you got mine. Look in your eyes as you stare into mine. Give you the ones over and over again tonight. I see the figures and figured out you were the one who was right. Cause you keep it 100, yeah, you keep it 100. You got me coming back. I want your body on mine. You take me to places that you make me feel right. Yeah, you've been so real with me, baby. I'm head over heels with you daily. No one could do it like you. Now everything's better with you. This unexpected kind of love must be sent from up above. Just hold me and don't let go of me, love. The look in your eyes as you stare into mine. Give you the ones over and over again tonight. I see the figures and figured out you were the one who was right. Cause you keep it 100, yeah, you keep it 100. The look in your eyes as you stare into mine. Give you the ones over and over again tonight. I see the figures and figured out you were the one who was right. Cause you keep it 100, yeah, you keep it 100. Yeah, you keep it 100 for me. Yeah, you keep it 100 degrees. You were so fly and I know I don't wanna let you go.
Great rise, beloveds. It's your girl, Kimberly McCann, a.k.a. Queen Gospel King Advocate, and you are listening live to On The Move Unscripted, On Purpose, the Ladies Roundtable discussion, where we talk about everything. Make sure you tune in every Thursday night at 8 o'clock from 8 to 10, and we talk about whatever you want to talk about. So make sure you tune in 8 o'clock every Thursday, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. with your girls live on the move, unscripted, on purpose. And remember, whatever you do, do it on purpose.